Hello. So today is the part 2 of the story of Martha. As always, subscribe, like this video and share it. Martha's face was obscured, but the sight was unmistakable. A broken golf club was pointing out of the murdered girl's neck. Beside the body lay the rest of the club, split into fragments. Someone had used it to beat her. Needless to say, Martha's friends and family were absolutely devastated. A young life had been cut tragically short, and in such a brutal and violent manner. They had to find out who had done this. Soon, investigators found some extremely eerie clues. The most damning evidence of all was found in none other than the Skeggles' house. Things were not looking good for these Kennedy relatives. A golf club that matched the one found next to Martha's body was discovered in their living room. Even worse, the same fragments were missing from the one as were missing from the murder's weapon. Another crucial piece of evidence was recovered from Martha's own diary. In the weeks and months before her death, the girl had journaled about the boys, describing what seemed like aggressive romantic advances and their resulting anger when she rejected them. Given the eyewitnesses had reported that Tom Skakel was the last one to be seen with Martha on the fateful night, suspicions were immediately placed on him. Investigators brought both boys in for questioning. Both of the brothers had alibis. Tom had been watching the French Connection with his daughter, and Michael had visited with his cousins in a nearby county. Unable to prove otherwise, the suspects were released. After this, the case went cold for almost 20 years. Martha's family still suspected the Skakel boys, but they had no recourse or legal way to prove so. They waited in desperation, hoping a break would come. Ironically, the Skakel's father, Washington, would be one to reopen the case in 1991. He hired a private investigator, hoping to clear his family's name. Unfortunately for him, this decision backfired. The boys, now adults, were placed in the hot seat again when police found that they had changed their stories. Apparently, both Michael and Tom had lied to the police all those years ago. And Tom had a startling admission. He believed that before he said goodbye to Martha that night, the two had engaged in mutual masturbation outside his home. He began to weep as he said this. Michael, for his part, had an even more disturbing story to share. He confused that after he left Martha that night, he had climbed into the tree outside of her house and also began to masturbate. Finally, in 1998, more than 2 decades after the killing, a judge found that there was enough evidence to charge Michael Skakel. Suddenly, he found himself at the center of the hated trail. The evidence against him began to prove life right. Some old classmates and of Skakel's even believed that he had confused committing the murder to them. Recordings from the creation of Skakel's own autobiography also didn't do him any favor. when recording, particularly looking back from Michael's case. And he could be heard describing his state of mind the night of Martha's death. He had been drunk, high, and sexual aroused. For the defense's part, they argued that there had been no clear physical evidence linking Michael to the crime. When the trial came to a close, the jury sat for deliberations. Both families, the Skakels and the Moxleys, waited in nervous anticipation. Finally, in 2002, so many years after the crime took place, Michael Skakel was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 20 years in prison. This wouldn't be the last the world would hear from him, though. Throughout the entire time that Michael was in prison, his family continued to appeal, hoping to clear his name and get him released. Realized none of these were answered until 2013, when something finally stuck. After years of messy legal battles, Skakel was released and his conviction officially overturned in 2018. His team has argued that his defense back in the 19s had been constitutionally deficient, invariably for much a high-profile case. There was a tone of controversy surrounding Skakel's early release from prison. People on both sides wasted no time in making their opinions known. Some believe that Skakel is innocent, especially those in his family. Robert Kennedy himself wrote in 2016 book in which he argued that Skakel was innocent and had been wrongly imprisoned. Others, however, are still faithfully certain that the initial decision to convict Michael had been the just one and are outraged at his release. One of these people is none other than Dirty Moxley. To her, the success of the final appeal was about nothing less than privilege. If Michael Skakel came from a poor family, this would have been over. But because he comes from a family of means, they've stretched this out all these years. This is the story. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with all your friends. Also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook accounts. Thank you for watching. See you next episode. Goodbye.